Okay, yeah, the lighting in here is pretty bad. Yeah, now I'm handsome. So about 4 months ago, I made a video about barbershops and nail salons, but there were 2 comments on that video that I couldn't get to in that video. But in this one, I'm gonna get to them. The first one is next time talk about how barbers stop cutting your hair to talk about sports. I don't believe this has ever happened to me, so I have a friend named Jaden who went to a barbershop and it took him about 4 or 5 hours to get his hair cut. The entire 4 hours was just him waiting because the barber just kept stopping to talk about some athletes, something Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, all this other stuff. While he was waiting, this one kid was getting his hair cut. He was like this far away from his hair and he literally stopped and moved the razors away just so he could talk about sports. And obviously the kid was mad because he's been in there for longer than he had, longer than my friend has. And he just went off on his barber telling him to hurry up and cut his hair because he quote unquote has somewhere to be. Now, whenever I go to a barbershop, it's for 2 reasons. 1, for when I need a haircut, or 2, when I'm traveling somewhere. I never get a haircut like 20 minutes before I have to be somewhere because that's just kind of dumb. Now, I understand that some people just have a place and time to be, but you gotta schedule a haircut like days in advance before you get yours. Because if you go in there the day you got somewhere important to be, that's on you. So as my friend is waiting for this haircut, this kid keeps yelling at his barber to just keep cutting his hair and stop getting distracted. Understandable, but it's still rude because that barber will mess you up. It doesn't matter if you're mad at them or not. You just, whatever they're doing, you just gotta let them do it because they will destroy your whole life. When my friend finally got to the chair, it took him about 30, 45, 50 minutes to get his hair cut because he kept stopping to talk about sports. Now, there are some times when you're having a deep conversation, you forget about everything and all you care about is that conversation, but all my friend cared about was that haircut. He just wanted his haircut and leave. But the barber kept stopping to talk about some sports. I don't know what it was. It was either basketball or football. And just like in the last video, he was also taking some breaks. Like he would leave the chair and be like, hey, I'll be right back. I'm gonna take a break. He comes back and he smells like a bunch of weed. But it was kind of my friend's fault because he came in on a Saturday. And not only was it a Saturday, it was a Saturday before school was back open. Kind of on him that it took him that long to get a haircut, and he chose to walk in a barbershop the day it's packed. Now here's the math. If you're waiting about 5 hours, 4 of them is just you sitting there waiting, and the other hour is you getting your haircut. Cause that's a few minutes of the barber's break, and that's another few minutes of them talking. Now on to the next topic. When a mom comes in and leaves her bad little kids in the barbershop and the barber has to stop cutting your hair just so he can make them sit down. Most times when kids come in, the parent is always with them because they're either going to get a haircut or they're just there to watch the other kid get a haircut. But in this one, where another friend went to the barbershop and the barber, he had to stop cutting his hair just so he could stop the kids from running around and messing anything up. Now, instantly I could tell this barber always had to do this because my friend said he instantly just put the clippers down and started running after these kids. And he's just sitting there with his hair like barely cut, like one half is already finished, and he's just standing there like, bro, get back here and cut my hair. He would not stop until these kids would sit down. After probably 10 minutes of chasing these kids, they were finally stopped and the mom came in and grabbed them. And these kids didn't even get haircuts. They were just sitting in there because the mom was taking an important phone call. What? Does that give you the excuse to leave your kids? Matter of fact, I want to ask that lady, what was so important about that phone call that you had to drop your kids off at a barbershop where they're not even getting their haircut? If anything else has happened to you like this, just leave it in the comments. I really didn't have much to say in this story. Well, even though the kids did knock down like 1 or 2 things. Pretty sure they even knocked down that one little bottle of alcohol that they use to like wipe off your head. I think they knocked down like one barber's like bottle, and that barber was so mad. I'm pretty sure he was about to beat one of those kids himself. But then he realized, yeah, I'm not going to jail for that.
But now I must conclude, I am conflicted, watching where I step, still hanging in the balance. Not the life I want to live, I want to take.
He comes back and he smells like a bunch of weed. What? Now here's the math. If you're waiting 4 hours